So at the moment, this is organized by frequency total. This is the total number of times that our keyword appeared in the corpus. And so this probably looks familiar to you, right? This is almost the same list that we saw earlier when we looked at the word list. All right. There's also a second frequency, and that's the frequency in corpus number 1. So corpus number 1 is listed right here. And this just means the keywords that are most statistically associated with corpus number 1. I think that's a little bit hard to explain with the, of, and, even for me. So please with me right now, let's actually deselect all of the corpuses, and let's only look at the infectious disease corpus. So can you please open only infectious diseases? Is everybody okay with that?
Okay.
And generally when I do this, if I'm looking by a corpus, I find it useful to sort by frequency per text. So now we see that even though protein has the highest frequency total, if we're talking about just words associated with infectious disease, it's not surprising, but infection has the highest frequency. So I'm just going to resort this from largest to smallest by frequency per text. And to me, this information is a little bit more interesting and easier to interpret. Okay, so the words that are most frequent and highly associated with infectious disease are these words. I guess that at least 3 of you know all of these words, I suppose. These are relatively familiar words for you guys, I guess.
Yes.
Yes.
So I would suggest like this. One way to use this list is to sort it kind of like this. And then you might want to look at keywords like viral. And you can see what types of phrases are most commonly used with viral. I got all of this information using methods as I showed you on AntConc. And my hope is that this single sheet might be a first screen for you. If you're looking for prepositions, or if you're looking for clusters of words, you may be able to just come on to this document and ideally find what you're looking for. And actually, this is not the best one. Let me go to virus to explain the meaning. So in this case, we have some information that is that has no parentheses, and some information that has parentheses. Basically, this means information in the parentheses is used by multiple authors, and you can probably feel free to use this phrase and not worry about any kind of plagiarism. It's a really, really common phrase. I included the stuff in the parentheses just for context. Plus, in general, the order is in order of decreasing frequency. So influenza A virus is probably used more frequently than of the virus. And then infectious virus is used less frequent. That's basically how this is organized. Another way to use the list is to jump to the bottom. I used control arrow to jump to the bottom. Do you guys know about that one? It's just like a quick way to move around using the control button. And I can use shift to highlight. So now I guess some of these words are not so familiar, or some of them are familiar, but some of them are not.
Yeah.
So this might be a way for you to learn some new words that are relatively frequent, but you may have missed. Of course, some of them are just kind of like an artifact of the data set, like Bifidobacterium. I guess you are mostly virus people here, but is this an important pathogen? I don't know what it is, but do you guys know this one?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
No.
So it might not be important because my data set is not big enough to eliminate false positives. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So certainly some things should probably be ignored. I just don't have that level of knowledge to know what I should delete. So that's why there's going to be some false positives on here. Okay, does this make sense so far?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so I'm going to clear my filter from Corpus 1 and get back to the top. I'm using control up arrow to navigate. People say that writing the discussion and then maybe introduction can be the hardest. And I know that introduction and discussion words often overlap. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to clear my deselect all, and I'm just going to select discussion section and intro section and get my data here. And then I guess I'll just sort by frequency. I usually start by doing that. Okay, is everybody with me so far? Okay.
Yeah.
So people often say that they have trouble with prepositions or with transitions and things like that. So let's focus on those. We have category 1. We have a large category called grammar. So let's just click on the grammar category. So now we have this. And then it's probably good to sort category 2 again. I just sorted A to Z. Now I hope we have some useful groups of words that might help to teach us some patterns. So here's that group of modals, which we talked about in a previous lesson. Here's the group of be verb. Not so interesting. Here's the prepositions. Now, I'm not sure if this helps you or not. I kind of think prepositions are so flexible, so plastic, that the top cases might not help you very much. But nevertheless, I put them here. I think what might be more helpful is things like these, the transitions. I hope that looking through some of these patterns will help to teach you some new transitions that you might not have used before, for example. And you might be able to see some patterns. So here's how people use however. Most often they use as however we found. or however, there was no. And one thing I hope you notice is in every case, however is at the beginning of a sentence. Furthermore, every time, however has a comma. This is very strong data. And that surprised me, because in the social sciences, we don't mind using however in the middle of a sentence. We kind of think it sounds cool. But I found almost 0 cases not at the beginning of a sentence. Therefore is almost the same. However, I included a quote to try to explain how another way to use it. And this is using a semicolon. A lot of people are confused how to use a semicolon. I hope I can explain it to you right now. A semicolon divides 2 full sentences that are highly connected. So, high-quality genomic DNA could not be obtained from AUT fetuses. Therefore, only VIA, MEC, and DEC fetuses were genotyped. So notice that on both the left side and the right side of the semicolon are complete sentences. And that's why we can have therefore right here. It's still behaving like it's at the beginning of a sentence. Does that make sense, what I just said?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. So I'm kind of hoping that when you're writing, you might think, oh, I wonder what transitions I might be able to use. And in this case, we have a list of transitions organized by frequency as they are used in discussion and introduction. And we can see some of them are used on average more than once per discussion section. But generally, they're used less than once per discussion section, which indicates to me that if you are using the same transition more than 2 or 3 times, it might not be good style. And you may want to try to search for more diverse transitions. And I hope that using this list would help you to do that. I'd like to explain one more thing. So now I'm going to clear the filter from category 1. But that means I still have this group of words of the introduction and discussion. And as you see, this is 581 words. So it's a fairly large group of words. And it might be helpful to sort by part of speech. POS is part of speech. So, for example, maybe we want to find all of the verbs. Now, J/V, that means sometimes it's an adjective and sometimes it's a verb. And N/V, sometimes it's a noun and sometimes it's a verb. But here's the ones I really want. I want to have all of these ones. So now I have a set of 124 words, which are all verbs correlated to the intro and discussion. Some of them are not surprising, like our modals and so on. But yeah, like results can be a verb. I think you're familiar with this, like results. These results suggest that. That's not a verb. Our results indicate that. That's not a verb. But here is one, which results in the activation of. I think that's kind of a cool verb. I think that you know all of these verbs, but you may not be familiar with the collocations around them. like suggest? Or how do people use demonstrated? Evidence have demonstrated that, have been demonstrated to be. And let me repeat, this phrase is okay for you to take. It has my quality assurance stamp. This is used by multiple authors, so it won't be plagiarism if you use phrases like these taken from this list. Okay, we're out of time. I just want to show you one more thing on this list. If you look at this tab called Nouns with Plurality, I want you to please open this one. So mine is organized a little bit different. Yours probably looks like this. Oops. Yours probably looks like this. Oops, a little bit different. Where did ethics go? I'm missing ethics. That's weird. Oh, you know what? The filter is still on. You gotta be careful with those filters. Oops. Control Z. When in doubt, use Control Z. Interesting. So the filter carried over. Huh? Oh, no. You know what? I probably did a filter earlier. That's right. When I was doing this with the previous class, I had a filter on. Sorry. Okay. So I'm just trying to get mine to look like yours. You probably have something that looks like this. I would recommend, okay, excuse me. So what this means is I looked at about 1,000 nouns, and I went through and I checked, do they count or do they not count them? So most verbs, most nouns are countable, but some of them have kind of like usually countable, like dogs. Dogs is usually countable. Patience is usually countable. And I really want to say that for animals, pigs, animals are usually counted. I know some people think that they should say, like, in pig, the pancreas produces insulin, or something like that. You know, that's old-fashioned. It's possible that your professors tell you to talk that way because they are old-fashioned. But the data show that people are very comfortable using animals as countable, as the plural. Macaques and so on. It might be more useful to flip this and sort smallest to largest to see which nouns are not countable, because there are very many nouns that are not countable. Look at how long this list of 0 is. 170? No, that's too many. No, it is. 170 words are never counted. Like, that's kind of crazy to me. I mean, some of them I'm not surprised. Like silencing. You would never say silencings. But still, it's sort of interesting to me. And I'll just highlight a couple. Do you know about Control F? Please push Control F and you can do a search. And I want to find research because I really want to show this to you. So usually I do find all. And I want to find it in the F column. So here it is. Here's the one that I want. Research, you guys, is basically never counted. Out of 531 cases, only 3 times is research counted. Your professors might be saying researches, but please don't write that in a paper. The data are very clear. Research is a mass noun, and it's not countable. So I know that that's hard to figure out what's countable and what's not, so that's why I made this set for you. Hopefully, out of the word you're looking for, it's among these 958 words, and you'll be able to see how most people are using it.